you were part of the reason why the idea of me making this podcast came to be. And that's something we're going to talk about. But we'll get there.
So a story begins.
Alright. Here we go. Yo, what's up, J-Dog? How you doing, my man?
Good, we're living the dream as always.
Living the dream as always. Also, I want to add in there, bro, your background is so nice. Like, I love the Glaceon and all the evolutions in the background, bro.
You see those?
It looks absolutely fire, man. I love it. Oh, dude, it's so good to see your face, man. Again, I still haven't like completely hashed out an intro to these, so I'm just gonna kind of improvise as we go. So, hey, what is up, everyone? Me llamo Rizo. Welcome to the Video Game Podcast. The podcast where we talk about why video games are important to us as gamers. We all have unique, different gaming backgrounds, and here we're basically just gonna take some time to talk about different games that mean to us as gamers and why they're important to us, and maybe how they shaped us as future gamers. So, welcome, audio listeners, and most importantly, welcome to my boy Journey, my man Journey. Once again, thank you so much for being here, my brother. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. It's an honor, and I am, like I said before, living the dream, and I'm very, very excited to share what I have in my archives and kind of show the world what gamer taste is like.
Yes, dude, that is what's up. There's so many different kind of gamers out here, bro, and like honestly, the moment I thought about this podcast, that's something I actually wanted to tell you, bro. It's crazy. You were part of the reason why the idea of me making this podcast came to be. And that's something we're going to talk about. But we'll get there. So something else I want to throw in there, just both for audio listeners and once again, I want to thank Journey. This setup that we pulled up right here is just so Rinky Dink, quick and last moment, bro. It's kind of like with Ryan, we just kind of like on a whim did it, and now I'm doing it with you, but there's a lot of issues. For some reason, I haven't been able to properly connect the audio so that he can just hear me through the computer. So he's like on the phone, like he's hearing me through the phone, and I'm hearing him through. It's a mess, but it's a mess that we made work. So that's all that matters. So thank you once again, Journey, for being here and being my virtual guinea pig.
Fair enough.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah, brother. All right, man. Well, hey, I think I'm ready to just kind of jump into it with you. Is there anything else that you'd like to say, or to start this conversation off with before I jump into the questions?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're watching this, like and subscribe to this guy right here. Like and subscribe.
There's that support, my boy, dude. Thank you so much, Journey. I appreciate the shout out, man. Again, I am so happy and honored to have you as a guest, man. To give people. Yeah, no, dude, to give people a little bit of background as to, Journey and I, we met in college. He was my brother Gabe's roommate for a little bit. Very first night that I met this guy, we were having a little party get together at my place. And all I remember from that night is he cleaned up my entire fridge before he left.
You have to tell that story.
Dude, that is like all I remember. And I just remember being like, what a good guy. Like, what a good guy, man. Like, that is how our relationship started, bro. And I'm so grateful for it, man. So once again, man, thank you so much for being here. And I'm so glad that we get to share this love that we have for gaming, and that we're just going to be able to have some talks about some good games, And thank you also for watching the first episode and supporting it. Also, thank you to any of the viewers out there who listened to the first podcast and left some good comments. I really appreciate you all. And I'm just all the more excited to do this today. So thank you, my people. And thank you, J-Dog. All right, man. So let's just kind of get into it, brother. In this podcast, the big thing that I want to talk about is just like the importance of being a gamer and what it really means to people. And I think the first question that I ask anyone before I even consider having them on the podcast is, Journey, do you consider yourself to be a gamer?
120%.
Oh, that's why he's here, bro. That's why he's here. Anyways, tell me why it's important to you. What does it mean to be a gamer? And most importantly, like, why is it 120% and not just 100? Like, that passion that you have for it, bro. Like, why is gaming important to you, man? What does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, the short answer would be to have fun, to de-stress, and to just burn time. I think we could all agree on that. Yeah. But for like the big pointers, I think for me is video games is a form of visual storytelling or of interactive storytelling. and
Yes,
it's
sir.
for me to kind of enjoy fruits of other people's work and just to
Hmm.
see what they have to tell, what they have to share to the world. And it really gives me inspiration and fuels my creative uh creative
Yes.
tick. I want to learn more about like what do they how do they want to share and express their passions.
Oh my gosh,
And
dude. Go on, go
so
on.
that's one thing. Another part is as an artist, I gain a lot of inspiration and kind of uh, ways that help me kind of change and develop my own skills in art, in digital art specifically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it really gets me pumped and hyped to like recreate and just enjoy what they have to offer.
Yes, sir, man. Yo, I have to jump in here. Like, that's such a beautiful answer, bro. That's such a beautiful answer, and it's so real. It's so legit. I think that's what I think it really means to be a gamer, right? Because like, yeah, I think some people can just view gaming as like, yes, it helps relieve some stress. It's something to do to just kind of have fun. But like, there's those surface level gamers, and then there's like the real gamers who are just like, bro, like, it's all of that and more. It inspires me. It pushes me to want to do more. It makes me think about my own life and how this story that this team put together and put in this game format, it's so important, man. It's so significant. It's something that I kind of touched on the last episode too. It's just like I think it's personally, and as a gamer, this might be biased, but it's better than a book. It's better than a movie. It's better than a show because it's like you're in it, bro. You are in the story. You can feel yourself being in it. And obviously, there's a bunch of different types of games, but nah, man, that's a beautiful answer, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. Oh, I love that it inspires you to be able to do what you do too as an artist. Like, what are some ways in which you've kind of found inspiration from gaming, and that you've kind of been able to work that into your art? Which, just to preface, for the viewers out there, yes, my board journey is an artist. So I want to know a little bit about that. Like, how is it that, it inspires your art?
Yeah, of course. So I think the first thing that comes to mind is that with them sharing their world, it really gives me a chance to essentially pick their brain, like tear their
Hmm.
like project apart, and just find nuances that I myself would have never even thought about. And that really pushes me to kind of implement these small little details, and I realize, oh, like this is how much influence it has over my work. And
That's
I'm just happy to kind of showcase that, hey, this is what has inspired me. This is what I like that has really, know,
yeah,
put into my work.
for
You
sure.
you look at you like you look at you see what I make, and you could find out like, oh yeah, this is what has inspired
See
him.
it.
This is what he enjoys.
That's yeah, perfect. That's awesome because that's what I was gonna kind of ask. Like, do you mean in like almost like in a very literal sense where like you see the art or the like the game, and you see these visual references, and then you implement some of those visual references, that creativity, and implement it into your own art. So it's like similar in a way but unique. Okay, no,
It's
that's
not even
perfect.
that. It could be even just the story. Like there's something so compelling about the characters or how they built their world that it also has an influence on my creative side.
That's and you can still hear me, right? Okay, perfect. That's why I wanted to ask because I know it goes deeper than that, and that's what I was wondering. I was like, is it literally like just on that surface level of like, oh, I see it, and that inspires me to want to mimic it and make it more unique, or is it deeper? Like, is it just the story, the concept, the characters that inspire you to create your own characters and your own stories through your art? That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Perfect, dude. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Are there is other than that creative part, is there more that you want to add to that answer of what it means to be a gamer, or is that do you think that embodies it pretty well?
I think gaming also brings a sense of community. I know from my personal experience, it's actually brought me some of my closest friends that I cherish to this day. I'm looking at one of them right now, if that explains much.
Get out. Get this guy out of here, man. Oh my god. Yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. No, for real, for real. I could not agree with you anymore. And that was the biggest thing that Ryan from last episode he was getting at. He's like, dude, I love gaming, so many aspects of it, but the big thing for me is the friendships that come out of it. And I completely agree, bro. And I'm gonna tell you now, I think this is a perfect way to lead into why, in a way, you and my conversation with you inspired me to do this podcast. So, you and I were just kind of catching up. We did a little call because we hadn't caught up in a little bit since I moved here. And we're talking, we're having a good time. And we talked for 20, 30 minutes. And we had a pretty good chat. And I was like, all right, man, we should probably get going here, move on with our days. And then I remember just, having a question of, what games have you been playing recently? And you jumped in and you're like, oh, yeah, I've been playing, a little bit of, Monster Hunter, And then the moment you said that, I was just, filled with so many questions, man. And this conversation that was kind of already, pretty much done turned into another 40-50 minutes total of just talking about the game. And I don't know if you remember that, but we were basically saying our goodbyes, and I started asking about this game, and I was like, bro, as someone who hasn't really played Monster Hunter but is interested in the series, tell me about it. I want to learn about it. And then we went to talk about it. It was a great conversation. I was just like, man, it just goes to show how games really can bring us closer together and give us that cool bond. And it got me thinking I would actually love to just have a podcast, because I can talk about games all day, bro, all day, especially new games that maybe I don't know too much about, and just how it's important to people. So yeah, man, ironically, you were a huge reason why I made this podcast, and this idea came to me. So thank you, brother. What are the odds of that, man? Did you think of that? Had you ever thought about that?
Well, I'm touched, honestly. I'm honored to hear that I was the kind of inspiration for you moving forward with this project, and I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, my brother. Yeah, no, honestly, again, it was that, and obviously, I'd kind of thought about in the past, I'd want to do a podcast and all this stuff, but it was just that conversation with you that really made me realize, bro, video games, and this is what the concept's going to be about. So yeah, man, thank you for being a part of that, brother. I appreciate that. Okay, awesome. So now, unless you have, this is something else I was gonna add, as we're talking about these games, if more reasons for what, why being a gamer is important to you either come to you or you want to share them at a later time, that's fine. Again, something that Ryan did was I'm not going to give my reason until after I talk about everything. And I'm going to see if you can figure it out. So I was just going to say, if you want to just give a little bit of that now and share more later, that's completely fine too. But yeah, do you have anything else that you want to add to your answer before we move on to the next one?
I think we could just dive into the games. I think they will speak for themselves.
I love that. I love that answer. All right, perfect. Also, one more thing that I'm going to throw in here, especially not so much for the audio listeners, but mostly for the visuals. The way that I have my setup, right in front of me are the videos. Right to my right is Journey. So this whole time that I've been looking this way, I've been looking into the camera, but I haven't been able to see Journey. So it's honestly, it's honestly been low key a little bit awkward because I could just see his face and I hear him talking to me and I'm I want to look this way, but I haven't addressed it. So I'm pointing it out. So that it is no longer awkward, and I'm going to simply just look forward, and readjust myself here. And this is probably how I'm going to be for the rest of the podcast. Because now I can see you perfectly. I can see the games perfectly. And at the end of the day, this is a podcast. Most people are going to be listening to this anyway, so it shouldn't matter.
I mean, at the end of the day, we do what we got to do. We're learning here.
Exactly. I'll try to adjust the setup. Because if I move the camera in front of me, in between my two monitors, that'll probably be best. But we'll worry about that next time. Anyways, Journey, if you'd like to send me the first link, my G, and we can get started talking about your first game. Yo, no, get out of town, bro. Oh, what a classic, bro. Okay, this is your game. I'm gonna let you go off. But I do just want to say, bro, like I recognize this is one of the legends in gaming when it comes to Nintendo and the Mario Kart series. So, yeah, man, please go off. Tell me about this game and why it's important to you and worth talking about in this podcast.
All right, so if you haven't if you can't tell already, this is Mario Kart Double Dash specifically.
Yes.
This was, I think, hopefully it is one of my first games that I've played as a child.
That's crazy.
And I chose this specifically because this is the only game that I actually got to play with my pa. We would just go on the GameCube and we would just cart it out for hours on end. And this is kind of the step forward for me into the gaming world. So I have a lot of memories with this game. I just remember partying it out with friends, and it just brings back so much joy.
It's amazing, man. I think that's something that I've always loved. Like, there's a bunch of different kinds of games, and Mario Kart definitely falls into that category where it's a lot more family friendly. It's a lot more non-gamer friendly, I guess you could say. Like, anyone can kind of jump in and just have a good time. So the fact that you've been able to play this with your dad when you were younger, the fact that you've had just a little get-togethers and parties, being able to whip out the good old classic Mario Kart, man, I think there's a beauty to that, and that's why these games will always just be such, at least for me, always be held in such high regard for being so accessible and you know, everybody knows about Mario Kart. Like, who hasn't heard about Mario Kart? But yeah, thank you for giving us a little bit of a background as to, like, what the game is about for on the crazy reason maybe someone didn't know about it.
Again, like, it's given me some of my closest friends, so I just have a lot of memories, you know, racing together, you know, yelling at the TV, throwing controllers, things like that. We've all had those moments.
Dude, for a fact. And I love that. Again, that's something I kind of talked about with Ryan too, and like that I believe in. Like, there's some games that are just, you know, they might not always be the quote unquote most influential or life changing, but they're just fun. They're just there, and they give you these memories, and they give you this good feeling. And it's like, will I say to this day that it is the best game I've ever played my entire life? Maybe not, but it's still important, and that's the beauty of why you're sharing this game with us. So thank you, man. I appreciate that, bro. I know exactly what this game is at for you and what it means to you. Like, it makes sense, bro. And yeah, sometimes there's no need to go into it further. It's just a fun game with a lot of fun memories. So,
of course.
Heck yeah, bro. Heck yeah, man. All right, if you're ready to move on to the next one, if you have more to say, bro, whenever you're ready.
All right, yeah, we could jump into the next one, and this one I have quite a bit to talk about.
Oh my gosh. Okay, perfect. Oh my god. Again, bro. I just go off, man. This was the generation that really kind of started it all for me too. That really made me fall in love with Pokemon. I think, again, Gen 3 was realistically where I started, but Gen 4 is where I fell in love. All right, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So, like you, I did start in Gen 3, technically. But this was the game that really sold it for me, that really made me fall in love with the franchise.
Oh, by the way, just for our audio listeners, I never mentioned it, but can you really quickly mention the game?
Oh yeah, it's Pokemon Pearl, not the remake. No, the early 2000s Pokemon Pearl on the Nintendo DS.
Important clarification.
Absolutely. So I can't even start. I don't even know where to start because I have clocked in so many hours on this single game. From all the other titles that I own, this game you could stack up all the hours on all my other titles, and this game alone could still trump that. That's how much I've played this game. I almost broke the in-game clock on this title.
No way!
Yeah,
oh my gosh, bro!
I still, believe it or not, I still remember my file time. My first file time.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh.
951 hours, 47 minutes.
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding.
Oh my gosh.
That is how much I played this game.
And even just again to talk about like how important that is. Like the fact that you remember that number so vividly well and you're like, bro, this is the exact number of how many hours I've clocked into this game. Oh my gosh, when was the last time that you like saw that game file, or like do you still have it? Is it gone? Like what happened?
Oh man, I think because when Black and White first
Mm-hmm.
came out,
Mm-hmm.
I transferred all my old Pokemon into that
Classic.
game, so
Classic.
I was essentially left with an empty file.
Yeah. Oh
So at that point, I
no.
just resetted it and just continued to play it by itself. But
Fair.
yeah, it just shows
Fair.
my commitment to that single
Yeah.
title and how much I love this game. Is it
Dude.
the best game in the of the franchise? Absolutely not. But hey, I love it nonetheless.
Dude, no, that's again. This is. Oh my gosh, sorry, I just saw what this guy called the Bibril. My bad. Anyways, for audio listeners, he called it Ligma. Anyways, keeping it PG here, keeping it nice and PG here. Oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I can show this gameplay. No, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Just because some of the names of these people. No, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
Put a little black bar.
We'll just we'll cover it. We'll cover it post editing. It's fine. It's fine. No, man, I 100% know what you mean, bro. I 100% know what you mean. And again, this is the beauty of gaming and why it's good to be able to talk about these games in this way. Like, it doesn't have to be the best game to this day. It doesn't even have to be the best game to you personally today. But it's important to you. Now, something that I guess I do want to ask you before we move on, if yeah, like if you have more to say about why this game is important to you and stands out, like I'll let you finish. But then if not, I have a couple more questions to ask you about this.
Yeah, no problem. So I guess this was like the big like influential game in the series that like got me into the whole Pokemon series because this is not the first Pokemon game I played. The first one that I've ever owned and played was Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. I'm not sure if you've heard of that title.
Oh, bro,
That is
the legendary title. Yes, sir, dude.
Yes.
That game is
So-
known. Actually, you said Pokemon Gale of Darkness XD.
XD Gale of Darkness.
By any chance, is it this game?
Yes, and I also own a copy of it.
Let's go, man. Bro, I know how legendary those games are, and I know how rare and crazy it is to play them. And I did want to say this. I considered myself to be a Pokemon fan, but I don't think I nearly clocked in enough hours as Journey did here. 950 hours on a single play. That just shows this truly is like Pokemon is like huge, and this game in particular, right? But yeah, no, man, I love Pokemon 2. I know the love for it. I have yet to play this game. I own it because I know how great and legendary it is. But nah, man, that's so cool. I just had to jump in and say that. But you can continue.
I gotcha. Well, yeah, I mean, I just remember so much from this game, whether it be doing like close-knit battles with friends or spending hours in the underground mining for gems and just doing secret base stuff, hatching eggs,
that's
shiny
amazing.
hunting, completing
Oh,
the decks. There was just so much that I wanted to get out of this game, and I don't regret any of the hours that I've put into it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you shouldn't, bro. You shouldn't. As it's kind of like what you said, like the exact words that you said. Like I played Gen 3. That was like not technically. It was my first Pokemon game. But Gen 4 is where I really fell in love with Pokemon. I was like, nah, man, like this game is awesome. And I remember playing Platinum and being like, not Platinum, I mean Diamond, and being a little bit older. Like I was a little bit older, and I was truly starting to really understand what Pokemon was about and how it worked, and it was magical, man. It was magical. I can't really tell you how old I was, but I was still a kid, but a little bit older, to start to understand it. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, there's just so much that I did. There's so much that I haven't finished up on, like completing the decks. But other than that, I've done a lot in a single file, and I just have a lot of good memories from it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And again, I think even your background, bro, the plushies, it shows the love and the respect. Even Glaceon, Glaceon being from that generation, that's huge, man. Which, by the way, I'll for the audio listeners, top 3 favorite Pokemon.
Oh,
It's tough. I know it's tough. I gotta put you in that position though.
Are we doing current generation? So up to Scarlet Violet.
Let's do for now just top 3 top 3 favorite Pokemon from Gen 4.
Gen 4
Just for
and
now.
below. Okay.
Yes, Gen 4 and below. Let's do that for now.
Oh, if you haven't guessed already, there's one right there.
Would you say that one's your top?
That is my top, yeah.
There we go. Awesome.
So
Awesome.
obviously Glaceon is
Glaceon
top.
for facts.
I know it's not the best, but I don't care.
Bro.
Uh,
Don't even.
Salamence
Salamence is...
and Astrodon.
Ooh. Gastrodon, is that? Oh my god, why am I... Oh, it's the one that
blue.
evolves from... Yeah, so which one?
Yeah.
Which
East
one?
Side. East side.
East side, that's... Is that the blue one or is that the pink one?
That's the blue one, yeah.
The blue one? Bro, fire. Ooh, now I kind of want to ask you, like, what is it about... Do you have, like, a particular thing that makes each of these Pokemon, like, be, like, on your top? Or is it just, like, nah, I just like them? Like, I don't know if there's, like, kind of a story that goes with it, or it's just kind of like, bro, they're just my favorite. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, the only one that I could really think of is Salamence, and that's because earlier when part of my Pokemon Pearl legacy was that with some close friends we would act as gym leaders and have monotype teams. And
so cool.
I had to choose the Dragon team.
Ooh, he said obviously.
Yeah, so Salamence was always my kind of finisher, my big bad, me being Cynthia and that Salamence being my Garchomp.
Yes! Oh, dude. For any other Pokemon fans out there, they just clap to you, man. Applaud to you. Dude. They know what you mean. They know what you mean, dude. Having a freaking, especially dude, Salamence, like, that's a pseudo right there, bro. That's a pseudo legendary. Like, the amount of freaking power that thing has is insane. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Okay. I know another thing I want to ask that you brought up, that it's always been a touchy subject for Mr. Noe here.
Okay.
I want to know about your first shiny Pokemon or your first couple shiny Pokemon and just the story with that. Because I know a lot of people have their own little stories of like, oh yeah, like I remember my first shiny was here and this and that. And in all my years, I'm not salty about it, but in all my years of playing Pokemon, bro, I have never found a regular, natural, all odds shiny Pokemon that I haven't been hunting for. I'm not salty about it, but it does hurt my soul. Whenever everyone's like sharing stories, like, yeah, man, like I remember I was this year old and I found this and I did this with it and like this is my reaction. And for me, like, bro, I've never found a natural shiny, man. Oh man, I've luckily nowadays with some of the newer games, I've shiny hunted and have been able to find one, which is great. My first one really being in Legends Arceus, which I think is kind of sad because I think a lot of people, have a lot of opinions about why the shinies in that game. And also the next one that I have that I remember, like I tried for and I got, was in Pokemon Let's Go, which it is important to me because it's a really cool one. It's a shiny Vulpix that I found. And that's a really good shiny. It's a really good shiny. And the dude shiny Ninetales, like, like it's so cool. But anyways, yeah, man, like, do you remember your story of like maybe like finding your first shiny or any shiny stories that kind of stand out to you?
Specifically, I mean, the one that really stands out to me was actually in a later game, and that was what was it? I think it was Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
Oh,
was like
okay.
The prominent one, because one of the key features that they added was that if you do a double encounter, you could continuously chain hunt.
Yeah.
The Pokemon when they call in for backup.
I remember.
I don't know what the name of the specific like topic or like name of the thing is.
Yeah.
I remember trying to hunt for a wild Salamence, alright?
Oh,
a wild Salamence. You could, yes, the first two routes, I think, you could find a wild Salamence at level
so crazy.
10 or something, 10 or 11.
Oh my gosh.
And I was doing this thing for about 3 hours because there's only a 1% chance of finding one.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, bro. I found a shiny Bagon.
Oh,
while trying to chain hunt for a wild Salamence.
That's crazy. So that's so cool, though. It worked out.
So Yeah, so 3 hours in, like, oh, I was looking for a Salamence, but I found a shiny Bagon, so I did that.
Dude, and these times always amaze me. Like 3 hours? Like
Yeah.
there's a part of me that's like, yeah, no, like that's a lot, dude. 3 hours of just hunting. But then again, I'm like, bro, there's some people who it takes them like days and weeks to shiny hunt. The fact that you got your shiny in a matter of 3 hours of shiny hunting is insane. It's so great though. It's so great.
Unfortunately, it wasn't a single chain. I had to go back and forth because either Pokemon, ran out of moves and had to do struggle, or
Yeah.
something like that. So
Of course. No, it's the process as a whole, man. But wow.
yeah.
Oh, that's so cool, man. Thanks for sharing that impactful shiny story, man. Cause oh my gosh. I am waiting to have my my oh crap moment of like I wasn't expecting a shiny and I wasn't going for it. And cause do you remember your first shiny or not really? Like you like was it never really that
Shiny.
I don't know if you remember
Oh, not really.
that. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's
that
fair.
was like, I mean, I was like 7 or 8, so it wasn't too much of a prominent thing until I turned a bit older,
Okay.
when I went
Yeah.
back to the files and started doing actual shiny hunts. So
Yeah.
I mean,
No, that-
oh yeah, I was gonna
No.
say like,
Sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
okay, I was gonna say like the I guess like first shiny would be the Red Gyarados and Heart Gold Soul Silver, but that's
Ooh,
just
there
kind
we
of a
go.
free giveaway, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't really count that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. No, and that makes sense, man. That makes sense. Like, obviously, it does become a lot more prevalent when you're older, and I think, in a way, that's what makes these first shiny stories sometimes so amazing. Because there's the people who are like, yeah, like I found a green Zubat and I thought my game was glitching, so I turned it on and off or something. Or there's like, yeah, like I got this one Pokemon, I caught it, stuck it in my PC, just kind of thought it was weird, forgot about it. Years later, found out it was a shiny, and now it's like a super prized possession of mine. So there's just so many stories out there, man. That's why I like asking, like, hey, do you remember your first shiny encounter? What it might have been? So, but nah, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I don't think I am the only person who shares that curse, but sometimes I think I am. Because every Pokemon player that I've talked to, I'm like, when was your first shiny? Or like natural full odds shiny that you weren't hunting for. And they always have a story. And I'm like, oh man, I want my story. No matter what, it's already too late. I wish I would have got it when I was like a child. The fact that I'll get my first natural shiny when I'm 26 years old or older is going to be a oof. But it's, you know what? It's fine, man, because I'm still a Pokemon gamer lover at heart. So whenever I find that natural shiny, I'm gonna lose it. I'm
Heck
gonna
yeah,
freak
mate.
out. Heck yeah, man. Nah, that's beautiful, man. Thank you for bringing up Pokemon. Like again, there's I've thought that there was gonna be some overlap in our games, and this is one of them. Bro. Woo! Oh no, I just almost knocked over the mic. I almost did. But no, this is one of them, bro. I love Pokemon so much. It's such an important franchise to me. We talked about this a little bit with Ryan in the last episode, but it is such a shame the direction and where, Niantic has kind of gone with Pokemon. And you have these amazing games from Nintendo like Breath of the Wild and, just they show in Tears of the Kingdom, like if they take their time to make a game, like it's possible. That's why I think a lot of people like to blame it on more so Niantic instead of Pokemon, but I don't really know, man. I'm just a gamer who loves Pokemon. So I know you said you listened to the last podcast. What were some of your thoughts on that whole conversation, or just what do you think about this idea? Pokemon being like that.
So I know prior we've had a very similar conversation about Scarlet and Violet. And my personal
That's
feelings with the direction that they chose. Now, like you said, it's not really. Well, maybe it is the company because they chose Niantic specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not up for putting my money into what is essentially an unfinished product. That is
Facts.
kind of unacceptable.
Facts.
And you see other titles like Breath of the Wild and even the new Tears of the Kingdom. They are a finely polished game that everyone could enjoy. It's not the hardware that is having problems. They are
It's
making
not the
a
excuse.
functional game. And when you open up Scarlet and Violet, there are just a bunch of bugs and unfinished problems that have yet to be resolved. Now, yes, you can release future patches, but should I be expecting a game that shouldn't have those problems when I first buy it? Or am I just gonna have to worry about buying this game that is essentially 60% complete and just wait for them
Yeah.
to finish it up in the future? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, we could take this back to the early 2000s. Like, granted, the consoles weren't as powerful, but you look at some of the popular, like, PS2, GameCube, and Xbox titles, those were finished games on their own. They didn't have to worry
Yeah.
about update patches. They didn't have
None
to
of
worry
that.
about anything like that. It's you make a finished product and you release it into the market.
As simple as that. That's how it should be. Like, if you're gonna design a shirt, a car, a freaking sandwich, like, you don't give them the product halfway and then say, "Hey, I'll fix it later." You know what I mean? And I think it's known amongst all gamers, like, yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, because like it is kind of really cool when a company does it the right way, that there might be little fixes that they can do post game launch. The big problem here that you already talked about is when they straight up just release it in this garbage state and say, who cares, we got to get it out for the holidays, make them holiday sales, Santa, whatever, and then we'll fix it later, which I think tends to be the pattern that Pokemon has followed. They're like, we got to get it released by a certain time, and yeah, man, I do want to step in and just, again, maybe for some of the audio listeners that didn't listen to the first podcast, something that I mentioned was, like, we were talking about Skyrim and how it's really buggy, but it's an amazing game that we all love. And a comment that I made, which still to this day I'm a little bit iffy on, but I think I did an okay job at explaining what I meant by it, which I'll try and reiterate here, is I said, yeah, like, Skyrim's a beautiful game. It is buggy, but we get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And I said, I think most gamers should try to adapt that mentality with any game. And I had to kind of hold up and be like, wait a second. Like, let me explain what I mean by that, right? All I'm trying to say is there might be a good game there. There might be a lot of fun to be had there. But if the games and the bugs if the bugs in the game are so broken that you cannot play the game and enjoy it because of the bugginess of the game, unacceptable. Completely fair to say, I'm not going to give my money into this. I'm not going to put my time into this. Like, this is not worth my time. But let's say you love the franchise enough. Let's say that, it's something that you're willing to look past. It's something that you're willing to say, like, look, there's, at the end of the day, there's not much I can do as a gamer. It's something I brought up with Ryan last time, where it's like, I think we do have power as gamers, but only so much. You know what I mean? If I could get a guarantee that if I don't buy the next Pokemon game, no other Pokemon fan will do it, I'm all in. Because that'll show the company, like, okay, we got to fix this because people aren't buying our game. The problem is, I know people are going to buy it. People are going to buy it. So my mentality goes to, I still love Pokemon. It's still really special to me. So I'm going to just try. And there's obviously times in life that this is not a good thing to do. I'm going to ignore the bad parts of this game and really just focus on the enjoyment that I get out of it, right? I think there's times in life, like, let's say you're at work, you're having a really bad day, and maybe that's the time you can implement that. Ignore the things that kind of bring you down, and what can you focus on the positives about work? Because you don't have a say. You don't have a choice, bro. You got to go to work. This is the job that you have. You're kind of pushed to, this is all I'm left with. I have to try to find the positive here. I think just kind of that's where I've devolved with Pokemon. I love the franchise so much. I don't want to lose that love for it. The games that have been released are in a horrible state that is unacceptable. But I try to find the little beauty and positivity in what I can. And it's helped my experiences a little bit better, but I enjoy them a little bit more. But yeah, man, sorry. I have to go off on that little tangent. I was trying to, update everyone in the last episode as well as just, yeah, man, I know you kind of already shared your thoughts, but I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, I will say that I kind of envy your mindset. Is that you can just go into a game, find like the good points about it, and just enjoy it to the fullest. Me, like as I've grown, I've become a lot more nitpicky about
Yeah.
the game I play and just how
Yeah.
how it is overall. Whether it be
Mm-hmm.
uh, hardware performance, if it's a good story, it has a lot of good replay value.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
Facts.
just can't look at a video game the same light anymore, and I
Facts.
envy you about that. Is that you can just pick up a copy of Scarlet Violet and just enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, man, and thank you. First of all, thank you for saying that and respecting kind of what I was saying too. But no, man, I completely get that, bro, and I feel like it can have the. That's why I do say this, and it's the same thing I told Ryan. You can get there. I think most gamers could get there. It's all in the mind. It's like a mental shift that they have to make. Some people will think it's worth it and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna try it." Some people will say, "No, it is not worth my money and time," and that's fine too. No, life is too short to spend too much time on a bad game, and that is just a fact. There's so many beautiful games out there. Why are you gonna be trying to convince yourself to play a game that you just do not find worth your time? So that's why kind of like all falls on the own individual and how worth it is it for them to flip their mindset and say, let me really just focus on the positives here, you know? So I get
Gotcha.
that. Ironically enough, another game that this happened with, which you actually joined during one of my live streams for it, was the Marvel Avengers game.
Yes,
Do you kind of
I
remember
remember
that?
this. I remember. I joined your voice call, if I remember.
You did. That was so fun. That's why I was bringing it up because I remember that specific moment where you called. I am one of the biggest Marvel fans out there. I absolutely loved that game because I was playing as a bunch of my favorite Marvel heroes, just beating stuff up and crushing stuff. And it looked, for me, really cool. Outside of that, I can objectively say it was a really buggy game, really ugly looking game with all the glitches, really repetitive, really not fun. But I made it fun because I was such a huge fan of the franchise. So that was just another example of like, I get it, man. I get it, you know?
Mm.
And I guess that's something that I do want to reiterate to everyone. Like, I'm not like clueless. I'm not like lying to myself or trying to defend something that's not there. I am very aware that the quality of these games and even the games themselves can be pretty garbage. I'm just trying to find the beauty in them because I'm a fan of the overall franchise. So.
Fair enough.
All right, man. Wow. Thank you. Well, thank you for listening, man. Thank you for the insightful Pokemon talk. Do you have anything else that you want to say about this game before moving on?
Actually, yes. And before that, I also want to go back to the previous title,
Oh,
Mario
yes,
Kart
yes,
Double
yes.
Dash. Um, so for a, I guess, nostalgia rating, because I know
That was
you did that with Ryan.
I was gonna ask you that just for the audience. These are the three questions that I was gonna ask you, and I was gonna ask you to go back. First is from your own personal subjective perspective when you were a child, where would you rate the game out of 10? Then coming back, playing it as an adult, having a more adult mindset, what would you rate it for your own personal rating? It doesn't matter what other people think, your own personal rating. And thirdly, where would you think the common gaming community, you know, you could give it this rating and most people be like, that's fair. That's a fair rating. So thank you, man.
So for my childhood rating, for Mario, this is for Mario Kart Double Dash, by the way, our
Yes.
previous title.
Yeah, of course.
For childhood rating, I would honestly give it maybe a 9. It's just a very strong 9.
A 9. That's up there, man. That's up there. Yeah, please go ahead.
For me personally now, like going back and playing it, I would say it hasn't changed much. I'd still stick it at a 9.
Solid 9, man. Yeah, for sure.
Then if we're talking a communal rating overall, probably an 8 or an 8.5.
I vibe with that. I vibe with that. Again, like I'm a fan of Mario Kart. Ironically enough, I've never played this specific version of it, but I know what makes it more fun than like a regular Mario Kart game. And yeah, dude, that's fair. That's fair. You know, again, it's one of those games that like I don't have too much more to say on it because I just completely agree with what you're saying, and I think those are some very fair ratings. So awesome, thank you. So yeah, moving on to Diamond and Pearl. Let's. Ooh, this might get a little spicy. What are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts?
So childhood rating, easily a 9.5. Childhood rating.
9.5. Let's go. Almost at 10, bro. Almost at 10.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have put in over 900 hours into that game. Okay.
Yes. Very, very self-explanatory why it's easily a 9.5. For sure. For sure.
Current day, I would probably give it 6.
Ooh, I love that, and good job, bro. Because this is the hard questions that I tend to try and ask myself when I'm reviewing a game, especially one that I might have nostalgia for. Like, what's my personal rating, and then what's like realistically, what is this game really rated as? So why, bro? What? Tell me why it is that when you were a child it was at like a 9.5, and now to this day you're like, ooh, it's realistically as an adult a 6 for me.
So I think with my childhood rating, I think it is really just nostalgia and it being like one of the main Pokemon, like core Pokemon games that I stepped my foot into. So, it was just like catching about, 500 different monsters. And I was just so excited because it was just my introduction to the franchise. And
of course,
it was just something that I loved.
For sure.
Now taking a chance to like step back and play through it again, it really wasn't one of the like more harder games because now I'm kind of like looking for something a bit more challenging.
A challenge, yep.
This is this is subjective, but
Yeah.
a lot of people would say that fourth generation was one of the weaker generations. I somewhat disagree, somewhat agree.
Yeah.
And overall, I don't think the game has aged well overall.
That's completely fair, man. That's completely fair. I think there's some games that you look back on and I think they end up quite the opposite. They end up aging really well, and yet I'm saying, wow, this game is actually really good and it deserves a way higher rating. And there's times like this where you can just look back and because you're older, because you've played newer games, because you've gotten more experiences, you're just like, nah, like I know how this game could be better, and that's very respectable. I was gonna ask, like, can you think of like an example or two, maybe other than the difficulty part, of things that might make you say like, this specific thing in the game brings it down, or that.
So overall, I think the game does not run as well as I thought it did. Now being like, I think 7 when this game first launched, I didn't really think too much about it. But now that I like plug it in and just see like the overall gameplay, it just runs super slow.
Dude, try fighting a level 99 Chansey at full health. How long will it take to just hit him with like a close combat or something? Have you seen that video where like it just goes down so
Yep.
Oh man, no, that's completely fair, bro. But again, it's one of those things that we're kind of oblivious to when we're children. But that's a really good, that's I get that. Great example.
I guess community rating. If I were to share this, I'd probably give it 5. It's one of the more mid Pokemon games, if I'm honest. So it's not terrible, but it's not great.
Fair. Unless this is gonna play later into our talks, what would be an example of a game, a Pokemon game specifically, that you would consider overall better, and why?
If we are talking mainline series, I would highly recommend Heart Gold Soul Silver.
Okay, enough said. I could talk about that game for so long, bro. I love Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I could definitely put that way up there, and I think most of the community would agree with you.
Yep. Heart Gold Soul Silver, if not Black and White 2 specifically.
Dude, that game, if you try to buy an original copy of like Black and White 2 or White, like it's over $100, dude. Like,
really?
Dude, those games are legendary now. Like, if you try to like buy a legitimate copy, you will not find one for less than $100. Like, I've checked. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. I think Black is more expensive than White 2. Black 2 is more expensive, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, man, it's just so funny that you mentioned that game, because yes, the community 100% agrees. that game is prime, dude. Legendary.
I think I still have my physical copies.
Yes, do not get rid of them. Do not. I mean, again, unless at some point you're like, oh, I'm kind of need a little money, you know. But if not, bro, keep them, you know, because it's not just the sentimental value if it has any, but the it's monetary value too, bro. You never know. You never know.
Absolutely.
So, all right, man. Do you have more to say about this beautiful game, or do you want to ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on to the next title if when you are.
Yes, dude. I am all set. If you want to send me that link.
All right. Whenever you want to check it out.
I'm going to close my eyes. I'm not going to see. Oh! I tried closing my eyes, but I saw it. Oh, well. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Let's pause this. Yo! Is this the first one or the second one?
This is the first one.
The first one! All right. All right, my G. Go off, Journey. Tell us what this game is and what it is about, and then tell us why it's important to you.
So, this is Horizon Zero Dawn. This is the first game. And the whole premise is that you follow in the footsteps of Aloy, who is essentially a clan outcast. And she is on the hunt to discover how the world became to be, how the machines essentially took over, and what is the kind of secrets behind the whole world receding back into nature. It is a open world action RPG where you hunt essentially giant metal animals, and this game specifically was the first game that I platinumed on the PlayStation.
Yo! Tip of the hat to a fellow completionist here, my friend. You know, I'm crazy about that. I've got something like, again, nothing compared to some other completionists, but I've got about 47 platinums, so we're pretty up there. We're pretty up there in terms of completing stuff. But nah, man, that's beautiful. I think, again, let me add this. I've never played this game. It is on my backlog. It is, you know, high on that list. I want to play it so bad. But as someone who's maybe never played it, maybe give us a little bit of like, it's an action RPG. The world, the environment looks awesome. The fact that it's like kind of prehistoric, but like there's technology in it, like that's super. I think it's super cool. I think it's a really unique take on this whole thing. But tell me a little bit about the gameplay. Like, what's the gameplay like? What are some things that you like about it? Is it faster paced? Is it slower paced? Is it, you know? And you said it was an action RPG, right?
Yes.
So
definitely fast paced. Definitely a lot of close calls in combat. The closest, I guess, game that I could compare this to would be Assassin's Creed, specifically. Mm-hmm. So if you're more into, like, again, close combat, wanting to find different ways to essentially assassinate your targets, whether you want to go stealth and do silent kills, or you want to go loud and proud and just send things off with a bang, you could do that. There's just so many ways to approach a specific scenario.
Look at that, man. It
overall,
looks so cool.
It's a very gorgeous game.
It does.
I was breathtaking with the world, and just to see how all the robots were specifically animated. When this first launched, when this was released at E3, I had no idea who Guerrilla Games were. Guerrilla Games being the makers of Horizon. Yeah. And I went in watching the trailer with, you know, like somewhat subpar expectations, because the trailer tends to be better than the game is.
Always. Like that's kind of what happens sometimes. Yeah.
And when I actually saw the footage of this game, like some completed footage, I was amazed. I was like, this is something that I never thought of, something that was out of like what I normally played. So I first thought, you know what? I'm just going to buy this game. I'm going to jump right in and just see how I enjoy it.
That's awesome.
So far, I wouldn't platinum this game if I didn't enjoy it. It has a great story. Some people would say otherwise. Great combat system. Overall, just a really enjoyable game that speaks for itself.
That's perfect. I think just like, even like you said, like the fact that you platinumed it says enough. Like, Not especially if you're not the kind of guy who always feels the need to platinum a game. Going out of your way to 100%, it says so much about the game. I also love that you kind of went into it not really knowing what to expect, and you just kind of like played it, made your own assumptions on it, loved it, and completed it. You know, I think that's something that I've talked in some of my other recent videos where it's like, I think a lot of the times now, because we live in a world where we have people who can just play the game beforehand, review the game, there's so many opinions out there of these different games. It can kind of corrupt, affect, or mess up your image of a game that you might have. You might play a game, think it's absolutely amazing, watch 10 reviews of people talking about how much it sucked, and be like, maybe it's a sucky game. Or, you know, you might play a game that is really bad, but then you watch a video of someone talking about, hey, no, this is what makes it so good. This is why it should be revered. And you're like, let me give it another shot. So there's a beauty to both. You know, it's not necessarily the worst thing, but I'm glad that you went into it blind and you just kind of like made your own decisions on whether you were going to like it or not, and that you loved it enough to just complete it, bro. Because that's beautiful, man. That's your own beautiful gaming story with this game, bro. And congratulations on getting the plat, bro. I know it's, for me, it's a huge deal. I love completing games. I feel so much pride in that. And nah, man, that's awesome. I know you kind of touched on. Oh wait, I don't know if you had anything else to say about that. Sorry.
No, you're good. You continue.
Okay, no, I was just gonna say, I know you kind of talked about the story, so, and you said it was solid. Like, again, something I was talking about. I feel like there's certain games that you play because the gameplay's perfect. They are amazing. There's some games that you play because like even if the gameplay wasn't good, the story's just so good you want to find out what happens. And there's some games there's the perfect balance of both. The gameplay's amazing, the story might be really well and complements it really well. So I was just gonna ask, story-wise, do you think, is this one of those games where like the story could completely hold up on its own without the gameplay, or do you think it's good enough that it complements the gameplay really well? Or I don't know, like, do you think it could stand on its own 2 feet?
I think overall the story itself was decent. To
Okay.
say that would it work stand by itself, that's taking it. I
A
wouldn't
little
say
too
so.
far.
The game
Yeah.
it's the gameplay itself does complement the story. So I
Perfect.
would have to say they would have to go hand in hand.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, for me personally, I enjoyed the story, but some people otherwise would say, the story's kind of knit and grit, nothing really special. But to each their own.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's why I wanted to ask, because it's like, everyone has their own opinion, bro. And at the end of this is your game, this is your opinion on it. So I wanted you to just be able to share a little bit about what you thought of that. And I think that's a very fair, realistic criticism, to be like, no, I think the story's great. Personally, I enjoyed it, but it goes in tandem with the gameplay. Because there are some games that you just need both of them together to make that perfect little mix. So that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Perfect. Yeah, bro. Do you have more to say, or are you ready to kind of jump into the ratings?
I could do ratings right now.
All right, man. Yeah,
I mean-
hit me with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to be fair, like there really isn't much to be said about this game. For what I could just say, just go and play it. That's all.
Yeah. Again, I agree. I think it's almost kind of like Mario Kart. It's not like you can sit here and really be like, what is Mario Kart and how complex and deep, and you know what I mean? Like, this is just a fun game. It's very self-explanatory. You can see what you would like about it, what maybe you wouldn't like about it. You can make your own judgment on it. So I think that's fair.
So, personal rating, like first impression ratings, I would immediately give it a 10. This is one of my favorite titles so far.
There's that first 10, baby. First 10. All right, brother. Let's go. I would
One of my
ask
favorite
why,
titles.
but you definitely talked about it.
Yep. Now that I go back to it,
Yes.
I would actually drop it down to a 9.
Fair.
And specifically because there are certain points in the game where they introduce a lot of dungeon crawling mechanics. There's no combat, so it's all cavern exploring, no fighting whatsoever. And that really kind of takes away from the tense atmosphere. I understand that they're trying to kind of focus on building the world and you learning more about the machines and what has happened to for the world to kind of recede back into nature. But
Yeah.
even then, come on, give me something to work with. I don't want to just go out and explore and collect digital logs and whatnot. I want action.
100%, especially because it looks like the action in this game is so fun. Like it's such a big component of it. So I think it having a good balance of like giving you the option to have a lot of action or to play a little bit more stealthy or to go a little bit more explory, I think is awesome. But just to be clear, again, as someone who hasn't played it, I'm asking, you think that the game could like have more scenarios where there's more action? Like that's what you're saying? Just because I don't really know.
Absolutely, I think there definitely could be more interesting encounters that you could implement throughout the series.
Okay.
I'm sure. I haven't played the sequel yet, but I'm sure that they've listened to communal feedback and may have
Maybe
have
added
adjusted
some
the
of
game
that.
to it. So.
Perfect. You already answered my next question, which was gonna be like, have you played the second one yet? But that's fair. I assume it's on your list, pretty high on your list to get to.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what's like the overall maybe communal rating that you would give this?
Communal
for this
rating,
game?
I would easily say a 9.
A 9. Wow,
Yeah.
another 9, man. That's fascinating. Yeah, no, I think honestly, like, as someone who would consider themselves as a part of the gaming community, who I haven't played this game yet, I've heard nothing but great things. I think especially the sequel is what I've heard is like, oh, they took the first game and they just made it even better. And I think 9 is probably a fair rating. I think there's always going to be these people who's like, no, it's like a 7 or an 8. But I think I respect that. I think that's fair. And again, you're the expert here. You're the one who played the game, so I
I mean, I played the game. I'm not sure if I'm an expert.
Okay. Fair. I'm just saying. You would know more than me, I guess. Nah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, brother. Heck yeah, bro. So yeah, I guess are we ready to go on? Oh, how many more games are there before we get to the final game?
So we are on our third game. This is you said this is the latest game that has impacted me. So right now
it is?
yeah, this is the last game that like really left an impact on
Okay.
me.
That's awesome. Okay, yeah. I didn't know because, like, again, sorry, I was just going based off of, like, kind of what Ryan did was, like, he shared the first one, then he shared, like, 2 or 3 games in between his life that really left an impact, and then he shared, like, the last one. I didn't know if this
Gotcha.
was, like, one of those in-between games or if this was the final game.
This
that you
was the
played.
last game that really has left a mark on.
That's awesome.
Mark on
That's
me, so,
awesome.
yeah.
Wow, great. Nah, bro, I love this list. I think it's a really wholesome list, and I think it also kind of shows like your maturity as a gamer. Like one of your first games being like Mario Kart, moving on to Pokemon, to moving up to this. You know, it just kind of shows like how your taste in gaming has grown as you have grown. So that's pretty cool, man. That's really cool.
Right. So shall we
yeah,
jump
man.
into the one of the extras that I have?
Yeah,
lined
no,
up here?
100%. I was gonna say like yeah. Now from here we'll just talk about honorable mentions. You know, any other extra games you'd like to talk about? So yeah, hit me with it, bro.
I'm kind of glad that you sent me the format for this podcast because
Yeah.
I had a list of about 25 and I had to
Yeah.
I had to take out so many just to shorten this list.
And in all honesty, bro, I think that's the beauty of this this podcast and the gamers that we are. Like, there's nothing stopping you from like coming back and just being like, hey, I want to talk about another 3 games today. And I'm all
right.
for it, man. I'm always here to talk about games. So like, we can talk about some of these honorable mentions, but if you feel like there's more like a game that you're like, no, I want to give it like its own special segment, hold off on it, and we'll talk about it in a future episode.
I have 2 specific honorable mentions that I wanted to discuss. I just sent you the link for one of them, actually.
Perfect. All right, gonna kind of close my eyes. Oh, okay. It didn't work because I clicked on it inside, but oh my god! Yeah, bro. This is I'm just gonna let you go off because it's almost too self-explanatory. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So this is GTA 5, specifically the online portion of the game.
Online portion.
If you haven't heard about GTA, I'm sorry, you're probably living under a rock.
Straight up. Bro.
But this is
Straight up.
by far one of the best-selling video game titles out there. Probably one of the
Easily.
most controversial titles out there for various reasons that we're
Yep.
not going to get into. But yeah,
Yes.
it's sold millions of copies worldwide. It's transcended 3 console generations.
Crazy. To
I
think
have
about.
I have put in as many hours as Pokemon Pearl in this game, if not more.
That says a lot, yeah.
And I just have a lot of good memories about it because it's actually introduced me to my high school friend group that I still talk to this day.
Wow.
Um, for what it is an open world RPG. I would easily compare this to Adult Sims, which allows you to essentially live the life of a resident
I
of Los Santos.
I would probably more say like thug gangsta Sims, because as it is, I think Sims is it can be a adult. It's just this is like if you want to go rogue and you just want to like I said, be a thug gangsta, brah. Like nah, man. I hear you though. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. That's a great way to put it.
I mean,
Wow,
yeah,
man.
like you've seen this. I mean,
Yeah.
any on any social media platform, whether it be TikTok Reels, YouTube Let's Plays, Twitch live streams, you've probably heard of GTA at some
Dude,
point.
no, I mean, I was gonna say just so that everyone knows, like I've played GTA 5. I think this might hit you with a little surprise. GTA 5 is the rarest platinum that I have. I went out of my way to 100% this game. That's how worth it I think this game is. It's crazy,
You're
man.
insane. You're insane.
I did, bro. I did it. I actually did it, and I did all the 100% of the campaign, you know. And I will say, this was one of the last platinums that I got that truly made me decide I cannot be a completionist. Not for the rest of my life. We can talk about it later or in a different episode or in a different video, but I used to be the kind of guy who I was like, any game that I buy, I almost dictated whether or not I was going to purchase or play the game if I could complete it. Very bad way of viewing it. Very bad way of gaming. But this was one of the games that when I got the platinum for this game, it took me years. Because it's like I played it the first time, I loved it. I kind of started grinding on that plat. I stopped for a while, came back to it a couple years later. I stopped for a while, came back to it. Got the plat for it maybe like a year or two ago, maybe a year ago. And I was like, I think I'm done. I think this has shown me that like all the time that I spent in this game, like I had a lot of fun with the journey. But dude, for those who don't know, like platting 100%ing this game is even you, Journey, as someone who doesn't really complete games, like do you recognize that this is a hard game to platinum?
Absolutely. And with every new title update, there's just more achievements to unlock. I'm just burnt out on, trying. I'm not even going to go into that, but.
Because, yeah, man, I can't even imagine. I'm the kind of guy who, like, if I get the platinum for a game, whatever DLC comes out for it or whatever percentage, like, I ignore those. I mean, like, I got the platinum for it. I 100% the base game, which I had to get my GTA Online character up to, like, level 100. I had to, like, do a couple of things online, and I had to, like, fully 100% the main story, which getting all the collectibles and all that was such a hassle, dude. Such a hassle. It took me so long. But honestly, very proud of this platinum. I love this game. And again, I really just did it because, like, I remember playing, this was my first, not my first, but one of the adult games that I played that I was like, whoa. Like, this is a fun, really, really adult, mature game. And it's not famous and popular because it's, it's not just famous and popular because it's really controversial. I think standalone, like, it's just a great game with a great story. It's a lot of fun to play, and it can easily hook any gamer. You know? Like, it's not just because it's controversial. Like, it is a good game, objectively. You know, I think there's a combination of things that make it so famous, but that's why I got the platinum for it. Fantastic game. Fantastic.
I think the most prominent thing about this game specifically is that you have so much free reign and there's so much for you to do to enjoy it. Whether it be you want to go out and do a lot of street races, or if you want to go and do some missions to make a whole ton of money, or perhaps you're the kind of guy who just wants to find all the knit and grit details of and Easter eggs that they've hidden inside
There's
the
so
map.
many Easter eggs, bro. So many Easter eggs. I've seen like long videos on like all the Easter eggs that are in GTA. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Oh my gosh, man. That's so cool, brother. Great choice, man. Great choice. Thank you so much for bringing this one up. I know obviously you were more so speaking in terms of like the online, because like I would say that the online and the campaign are pretty different. And the biggest element for me is like, yeah, the online feels more like a RPG where it's like you create your character, you build them from the ground up, you have your levels, you can unlock these different weapons for them, you can buy a house, you can buy these cars, you can do these missions. And the best part of it all is you get to do it with friends. You know, this is one of those games where like the online portion, what makes it so fun is creating the mayhem with your buddies. That,
yes,
you know,
absolutely.
It's not necessarily like the set missions that the game has for you to do. It's you saying, bro, let's just race down this hill and see who gets down there first without dying or something. I don't know. Like, it's crazy. There's so many things you can do in this game, bro. It's amazing.
When I have to ask you, when was the last time you touched GTA? Specifically the online portion.
It must have been, oh my gosh, I was in college. Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I was with my now ex, I guess. I don't even know if I was with her yet. So it was a long time ago. It must have been like the last time that I played it, maybe I think I was with her. So I'd say it's been about 3 years, bro. It's probably been about 2 or 3 years since I last touched this game. Like the online portion, when I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. I was still going for the platinum, but that was probably the last time I touched it.
Gotcha. I'm kind of in the same boat. It's been about 2 or 3 years since I last touched it. And for good reason, because knowing me, I'd probably still be sucked in that rabbit hole. So I think it's a good thing I stopped.
Dude, yeah, no, completely fair, man. Completely fair. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Oh, it's so good, man. Such a great choice. Such a great choice. Do you have any ratings that you want to give to this game, whether it be, you know, just the online portion or both or whatever?
Overall, I mean, when I first played it, I'd probably give it like 8.5.
Okay. Fair. Again, this is your own personal ratings. We ain't here to judge my boy Journey, so let's back off if you're some crazy GTA fan. That's fair, man. 8.5.
Yeah,
for sure.
so 8.5 when I first played it. Going back to it, I'd probably give it maybe 7.5.
Fair. Went down a little bit. You know, maybe some of that magic was gone because you'd already played it before.
Then community rating, I'd probably still say 7.5.
7.5. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think like a lot of the different fandoms, you know, like there's Pokemon players who are so diehard that they will forever give every Pokemon game a 10 out of 10. I think GTA can be one of those franchises where some people are going to be like, it's perfect 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Like, how dare anyone give it? But nah, I think that's a fair rating. I think like a 7. Like, it's a great game. Like, it's a great game. So, fair rating, bro. I get you. Awesome, man. Awesome. Right. Wow. Well, thank you, J-Dog. You have one more game to share with us?
I got one more game. I have one more game of footage that I could share with all of y'all.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there were so many. There were so many that I could have chosen, but this is the game. This is the game.
And again, there's nothing wrong with coming back, bro. There's nothing wrong with coming back. Also, I love that this guy just like jumped off of the motorcycle mid-jump. But those are the kind of ridiculous things that I have to do in this game. Journey. Why do you gotta do me like this? Why do you gotta do me like this? Literally, this was the game that almost, the conversation that literally almost started this podcast. Like, that's so crazy, man. Of course this would be it, bro. All right, man. Go off. Tell everyone what this last game is that you want to talk about. And I'm just going to listen.
All right, so this is the latest title to the Monster Hunter franchise, Monster Hunter Rise. If you haven't heard of Monster Hunter, the whole premise is that you are a hunter that is sent to a specific land to hunt monsters and try to keep the ecosystem in check. Story-wise, there's really not much to it. The story itself
Fair.
is pretty lackluster in most
Fair.
cases. But the whole premise of the game is that you go out and hunt giant monsters, and each fight is like a giant boss battle.
My
So
God.
there is a lot of replay value to this game. Capcom has done a wonderful way of figuring out the trying to balance you trying to progress with your character
Yeah,
and finding a way to get you to continuously play over and over again. There's just a lot of replay value in it. Whilst in like normal RPGs where you raise your character's level, in this series your character is completely irrelevant. It's more of you trying to collect stronger weapons and armor sets to help you fight tougher monsters. And that's what just gets you sucked into the gameplay loop.
Yeah.
And so far, I've just enjoyed the thrill of being able to tackle giant lizards and ride my wonderful wolf around
It's
small
so-
island.
Oh my gosh, dude. I have to jump in here. It's like this game is so crazy, man. Like, and I bet like there's all the leveling up, or sorry, there's all like the different weapons you can get too. So I bet like that also adds a huge level of like, oh, I'm gonna test out these new weapons, and now it's a completely different game style. Because like this looks super fast paced, dude. Like, holy smokes.
With it, like, there's just so many options for you to play and approach this game. If you like shooting, if you like hunting from afar, choose the bow gun or the bow. If you like to get up in close and personal, you could choose the greatsword. If you're more of a tank, go for a charge blade or sword and shield or even the lance. There's just many options for you to play this game, and all the weapons are great on their own way. There's no one weapon over the other. Some people would say otherwise, but if you're just in it for the enjoyment factor, choose how you want to play.
Exactly. Nah, man, that's awesome. That's again spoken from a true Monster Hunter expert.
I mean, if you want to talk an expert, like I know me and you have a good mutual friend who is very well versed into this series, and I hope to
my
see
God.
him on the podcast soon enough.
I've reached out. He's definitely interested. We're gonna have to get a time, but just know, bro, I have.
Heck yeah.
We are talking about a friend who like oh my gosh, I lived with him 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 7 years ago now. Something crazy. Like I lived with him 7 years ago. He was playing the original Monster Hunter. To this day, I think he's still grinding out the original Monster Hunter. I think he's doing the DLC, the Iceborne DLC still, which is different, but that's just crazy, man.
Worlds isn't the OG. If we were talking OG, we're talking about like back in 2004, mate.
Oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh. That's so crazy. So, anyways, I know what you mean. Okay, maybe you're not an expert, but at least between the two of us here. Now, to give a little bit of background on me with Monster Hunter, like, bro, like, and I don't know, I hope that there's maybe more gamers who can relate to this, but, like, Monster Hunter has always been a series that, like, it seems, like, so perfect for me. Like, it seems so much fun. It looks so beautiful. It looks so cool. The monsters look so cool. The characters look so cool. The fighting looks cool. The whole concept and idea of it always seems so much fun. Yet, when I tried Monster Hunter Worlds, which a lot of people really loved, I found like myself thinking it feels kind of slow. It feels kind of buggish. I actually have not buggish, just really slow. Like every aspect of it kind of felt a little bit slow to me in terms of like, you're fighting the monster. It felt a little bit slow. It runs away. Now you got to go chase after it, find it again. Oh yeah, I found it. I got to fight it. Oh great, now I ran away again. Oh, now I died, and I got to do the whole thing again. You can actually, if you want to go watch, I have the review still on this channel. But what I'm getting at here is I think that Monster Hunter, similar to my story with Persona, is one of those games that I just need to understand it. It has to click with me. I have to play it enough and really understand like how it works as a game and have the right expectations going into it, so that as I'm playing it with that, kind of that in mind, I can enjoy it a little bit more. Because, yeah, I'm more into the traditional classic RPGs. Like, you mentioned this, Journey. Like, your character level doesn't really matter here. And for me, that's something that when I play games like this, it's like I'm really used to. I kill monsters, I level up, I learn new moves, I go fight bigger monsters, and that's like the thrill there for me. So this is just really different because you don't have a level. And the point here is, yeah, you kill the monster and you don't level up per se, but you do improve with your armor, and that's in a way leveling up. And something else that's new for me is like, I like starting off with a little bit more simple combat, and then I level up, I learn new moves, and then the combat gets more complex. While Monster Hunter, it just kind of throws you in, and it's like you have your entire arsenal at your disposal. And I think for certain gamers like myself, like that can just be really overwhelming. And it's like I don't know what I'm doing, and it seems like there's just so much to learn. There's so much text, and it can just be a lot to kind of tackle. But it's a game that I really want to get into, man. And again, keep in mind this is me talking about Monster Hunter Worlds. I feel like a lot of the things that I've talked about have gotten fixed in this one. Moving around the world with your wolf, which I love wolves, in case y'all can tell. I love wolves. Moving around the world with your wolf has helps it make it a little bit faster. I heard a big thing that I was annoyed with in the first one was like whenever I tried playing with my brother and my cousin, we both had to be at like a certain part in the game to play together. We'd have to like watch a certain cutscene. Like we tried playing it, starting at the same time and playing through at the same time, but the first game wasn't really friendly towards that. They made it so that you'd have to like start the mission together separately, get up to the boss, watch a certain cutscene, and then you can join each other. And then usually by the time you join each other, the other unless the other dude just waited, the monster was like half dead or already dead. It was a whole process, man. It was a whole process, but my point being here is it looks like such a fun game, bro. And that's why I love this. Kind of inspired me to make the podcast because you told me a lot of the things to like how to expect what to expect from this game. What it's meant to be and how to enjoy it. So yeah, do you have anything else more to add? Like maybe some advice of like someone's interested in the franchise but they don't know the best way to start to get into it. What would you say is like a good mentality or some things that they should be ready for when they start the game?
You do bring up a good point in that this series can be a bit intimidating to new players.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to Worlds for a moment and saying that it was actually, I believe, the first Monster Hunter title that had a global launch. So it released all around the world at the same time, and that's where a lot of people may have just gotten first introduced into the franchise.
Yeah.
I've been playing Monster Hunter since I think the second generation, so like early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And I can understand that this game can be, for some people, notoriously slow.
Yeah.
Because prior to Rise, you had to essentially run everywhere. And I believe how they formatted the game was that it was open zone instead of an open world as you see in Rise and Worlds. So basically, you would go to a specific gate, and that would load up the next zone for you. With Worlds and Rise, they decided we're gonna just open up the entire map to everyone, so you don't have to have that loading screen. With Worlds, yes, it does tend to be a bit slow if you're not used to it. I can see like why you would make that point.
Yeah.
And with Rise and Sunbreak, they do fix the kind of travel mechanics, so you are getting around much quicker. You have your K9 to kind of ride around on. You have your wire bug, so you can leap and jump around.
Just like a grapple hook, which looks awesome.
Yeah, that's the wire bug, the grapple. So I think compared to Worlds, they do make it a bit more user friendly and quick pace. Rise compared to Worlds. In terms of gameplay, the series is notorious for having a large learning curve. I know I had that problem when I first started playing, but it's just something you got to like put in some time and just like kind of discover and work around with.
Like it's worth it. It's worth learning. Yeah,
absolutely. And like once you get started, like once you get into the groove of it, you'll understand like why it's so addicting, why there's a lot of replay value to it. Because when I first hunted, I kept getting, I kept fainting and getting destroyed by
Oh my
giant
gosh.
lizards.
Yeah.
So I was in everyone's shoes. But now that I've learned like the game mechanics and I've learned all these tips and tricks and whatnot, yeah, I've enjoyed hunting so far.
That's amazing. No, that's amazing, man. Thank you. Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's a great. Again, it's good to just be aware of these things. If you're going into the franchise, have these kind of like heads up of like, yeah, there's gonna be a learning curve. Yeah, it can be a little bit tough to get into, but the payoff is so worth it. And once it clicks, and it's just a lot of fun from there. I know I've had my fair share. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you got it.
I was just gonna say, like, I know I've had my fair share of games that, like, I have a certain idea of it on it. I try it. I think I don't like it. I give it a year or two. I come back to it knowing what the game is gonna be rather than the idea of what I thought it was gonna be. And I just accept the game for what it is and find the beauty in it. And I'm like, wow, I'm actually really into this game now. And I am like 99.99% positive that that is this game to me. I think I'm gonna play this game, have that new mindset, take the time to really learn how to play it well, and I'm gonna get hooked.
Heck yeah, man. So see how your hunting journey progresses.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Oh my gosh, man. Wow. Well, thank you so much, bro. I'm kind of lost track of time here. I know this has been great, bro. I have no idea how long the podcast has been. Let's see. Oh, we're getting there. It looks like our phone call has been about an hour 40, so we're definitely at a good pace here. Ish. Yeah, no, for sure. I love that it's like, oh, that's always a reaction. It's like, oh wow, it's almost been 2 hours. Like, it's like, yeah, it's felt like a little bit, but I don't know. We've just been having fun talking about games. But anyways, do you have anything else that you wanna like maybe again give us like the scores that you would give it, and just anything else that you'd like to say about this beautiful game, honestly?
I mean, score-wise, I would give Monster Hunter Rise specifically an 8.
An 8.
First impressions wise.
First impressions, yep.
Yep. Personal rating now, it would still stay an 8.
Okay, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then community rating, I'd probably give it an 8.5. Compared to Worlds, this one does seem a bit more user friendly if
Yes.
you're just getting into the franchise. So
For sure.
I would
agree with that.
recommend it.
I agree with that. Even again as an outsider, like I would probably agree with that. That this one definitely like just looks more user friendly and easier to get into. So awesome games, man. Thank you so much for sharing all this, dude. Like, oh my god. So just to be sure, like this was like your last honorable mention, I guess. Like your last game you want to talk about.
Last honorable mention that I had footage for. If you wanted me to like list a few, I could do that. But so far, this is like the games that I wanted to discuss.
Okay, yeah. So without getting too much into detail, yeah, give me like a quick 4 more games maybe that you're like, bro, honorable mentions. Like, can't get into it too much, but you want to just talk a little bit about.
So let's see. I actually have a list here if I could find it. Okay, so I think we all know this series. You've heard about it at some point. Smash.
Ah, my goodness, you're the second person to do that. Ryan did the same exact thing.
I mean, I could have put it on like
Yeah.
my main list, but at this point, we all know what Smash is. I wanted
Yeah.
to do something a bit more unique, so
Yeah.
But I figured I'd just throw it in as an honorable mention.
Oh no, for sure, man. And I completely agree. And honestly, I'd probably fall in the same boat as you guys. Like it's on my list for sure. I don't know if I would talk about it in the podcast per se, but I would do what you did. I'd be like, it's an honorable mention. Like I love it, but yeah, there's other games that I would probably just talk about for a little bit more. But it's on my list for facts.
Absolutely. Another game I have on my list is Battlefield 1.
Ooh,
the
another
one that-
Battlefield entry. Look at that.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, that's interesting, bro. No, I heard it was really great.
Was.
I also heard like a lot of people like miss the more traditional kind of Battlefield, but why is it that you like that one a little bit more compared to like?
I think it was going. It took a step back and went in a direction that I think at the time, like where a lot of FPS games were just doing a lot of like futuristic stuff, and I was kind of
Yeah.
getting tired of that whole trend.
Yeah.
So them taking a step back and like going back to older times, I think was a nice breath of fresh air.
Yeah, no, for sure. Honestly, I agree. I think that especially with a series like Battlefield, where like they tend to kind of like I don't want to say copy paste, but like they know what works for them and they stick with it. The times that they have branched out, this was one of them that was unique and I think worked really well. I know there was like Battlefield Hardline where it had to do with like cops and like robbers.
Oh, I didn't play that.
Yeah, and that was, I heard it wasn't that revered. I don't think, at least, but no, I appreciate the franchise when they try to do something different. So great entry, great point to talk about. Great game.
Yeah, what else can I give a shout out to?
Let's do.
Here we go.
All right. Just so because I want you to come back. Give me just 2 more games. 2 more games.
Okay,
we're gonna have to
two
call
more
it.
games. Okay, I'll do this one because I know you did a review on it. I'll say Pokemon Conquest.
Ooh, oh my gosh, dude. I love Pokemon Conquest. Oh, I'll let you talk about it a little bit, but I love that game so much.
All I could really say is go watch his review.
Thanks so much, bro. Oh my gosh. I am dying to like replay that game and make another review on it just because I feel like I made that review like over a year ago, and like it was when I was kind of really first starting YouTube, and I feel like now I could probably do a better thought out, better job at explaining what the game is and what makes it amazing. But man, do I love that game, bro. It's so good. It's in really short terms. Like there's, what's the name of the franchise that they paired up with? Because it's not Fire Emblem. It's another one. It's
is it Samurai Warriors? I think.
I think it might be. Is it Samurai Warriors? It might be. Either way.
Yeah, Samurai Warriors.
Perfect.
Yes,
there we go.
Samurai Warriors.
Samurai Warriors. It's literally Pokemon mixed with Samurai Warriors. I've never played a Samurai Warriors game, but it's, for me, it was just Pokemon and Fire Emblem have a baby, and you have Pokemon Conquest. I loved that game so much because I love Fire Emblem, I love Pokemon, and getting to play a game that has mechanics from both was amazing. It was really cool, and even from that Samurai game that I've never played, like I'm interested in maybe trying those out now because I really enjoyed Pokemon Conquest. But yeah, wow, dude! Again, another game that we could have a whole section on, bro. But great honorable mention. Great honorable mention.
Yep.
Do you have? Yeah.
One more here. Kirby's Return to Dreamland.
Ooh, is that a GBA or no?
No, that's for the Wii. That's for
is it the
Wii.
Oh, is it the okay? Yeah. See, I've never played Kirby, but I've kind of
okay.
So which one? Return to Dreamland? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's the one with the super abilities.
Ooh, okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. No. Okay. I know. And it's like, is it like co-op? Like, can you play co-op?
It's co-op.
That's awesome. Wow. Another really fun game that I'm sure a lot of gamers out there are like, yes, that's awesome, man. I want to get into the Kirby games too, bro. Like I do. Unfortunately, it's another series that I haven't touched, but I am interested in. I think I could have a lot of fun with. I think some of those games, the co-op ones, I'd have a lot more fun playing it with someone. While the newer one would probably, obviously it's like single player, so that's something that I could just kind of dive into. Have you played the newest one? The newest Kirby that came out?
Was that Forbidden Lands?
I think so.
Lands,
Yeah, the one where he can like eat cars and whatnot. I'll take it as a no then. There we go.
No, I haven't.
You haven't played it yet. Nah, that's fair, man. But wow, dude, holy smokes, great choices, man. Oh my gosh. This was great. This was such a great conversation, man. I just once again want to thank you for being on here and joining the podcast, man. I had so much fun. Again, you really did make time just kind of fly. It did not feel like we were talking for almost 2 hours, at least for me. Great games, man. Great games, great choices. Again, really fun and really cool to see the influence that gaming, your gamer journey, and how games have influenced you in your regular day-to-day creative artist goals or your journey there. So that's amazing, brother. Do you have anything else to say, whether it be about gaming, any last message that you want to leave with the gamers, or that you'd like to share again about gaming and your views on it or whatever?
Yeah, I guess I can add this little tidbit. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe this video.
Bro, get out of here, man. Oh my gosh. Journey's just get out of here. I mean, you guys can do that if you want, but he said it, not me. My boy Journey over here said it. I'm just vibing, talking about games. But oh my gosh, man. Once again, dude, thank you so much for being a part of this, brother. I had so much fun talking. And yeah, man. Definitely keep that list of games going, because I'm gonna ask you to come back most probably at some point. And yeah, just thank you so much. Thank you for being so supportive. Thank you for listening to the first podcast, being willing to come and be the second person here, and being willing to work with all these technical difficulties, that literally he's like, I'm not going to show my phone because your number's on there, but I'm on the phone with him. He's listening to me through the phone, and we have this whole weird setup going, but we made it work. And just thank you for your patience, and thank you for being here, buddy.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to see where you take this podcast moving forward.
Thank you, man. Hey, as all I can say right now is I'm just going to talk to more gamers, and we're going to talk about more games. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Thank you so much, Journey. All right, man. So I'm going to go ahead and call it here. So, yeah, once again, thank you all so much for watching and being a part of the podcast, or listening if you are one of our audio listeners. If you would like to be a part of the podcast, if there's games that you want to talk about and you think gaming is an important part, let me try that again. Gaming is an important enough aspect of your life that you want to come and share your story on the podcast as to why these games are important to you, or why being a gamer is important. You can either go down to the description on the YouTube video, and I'll have a link to my Discord there. Send me a DM or say something in any of the channels, like, yo, I want to be on the podcast, and we'll talk about it. If you're watching a video on YouTube, comment down below. Let me know, and I'll DM you. We'll talk, and we'll see if we can make this happen. But anyways, don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe, join the Wolfpack family. And once again, huge shout out to my bro Journey. Journey, I will let you sign us off. Just say whatever you want to say to end the video. Completely up to you, brother.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Just like that.